Right on. That was pretty much me, man. Yeah.
Okay.
It was a good week, except for all that stuff that happened.
Too much stuff happened, man.
What was the first thing that happened?
All right.
So do you want to just talk about Watch Dogs right the fuck now?
No, actually, I want to talk about Flappy Bird.
Oh, god damn it.
Flappy Bird Chronicles.
I'd rather not talk about this because it's so dumb.
Nah, guess what? The whole industry's dumb.
You've got 2 minutes to summarize this week of Flappy Bird.
I mean, it's either that or fucking Polygon talk, and you really want to go there?
Unless it's about that Street Fighter article.
Yeah, and then what, right?
Well, then what's Flappy Bird?
Flappy Bird is a game that was made by
some guy.
Dong Nguyen, and it was nothing. It's a super nothing game. It's a tap bird flyer.
It's apparently quite hard.
And you fly through, like, obstacle pipes, and that's it. This shit goes up on the iOS store, and this game, and, like, I think the 3 or 4 other games he made, suddenly, out of nowhere, after being on the iOS shop for 6 months, spike up super high.
Yeah.
So clearly, dude must have probably paid
a company to do that.
To go in and get his ratings up and get his downloads up.
He got his payback, and he must have made a shit ton of money.
Well, more than he bargained for.
At the peak, he was making $50,000 a day. And some analyst people were looking at it going, if he monetized correctly, he could have made about a cool $1 million, actually.
I'm sure, yeah.
And then everyone looked at it and went, you fucking, like, basically copied the pipes from Mario and made a shitty-ass bird.
Yeah, it's a shitty-ass mobile game.
No
you
reason.
Suck.
Yeah,
I hate you. You should kill yourself, blah, blah, blah.
And
Internet hate.
Yeah, and he basically comes out and goes, I can't deal with this.
It has ruined my simple life.
It has ruined my simple life.
You almost feel bad for him. Like, actually, though.
He removed
as he's wiping his tears away with $1,000 bills.
I think that's hilarious. It's true. But at the same time, it's like, he just didn't want everyone to tell him to die.
Yeah.
Which in all fairness, is
it's
unreasonable for anyone to tell you to die.
When you scum out the App Store like that,
but is that worth being told to die?
No. But it's like, boo-hoo.
But at the same time, you should have been
Which is why I'm saying I almost feel bad for
almost. You're not quite there.
Had everyone been more reasonable with criticisms, I would have been like, I don't feel bad for him at all.
But this is the internet.
Or if he gave some of that money to charity or something.
As a person who speaks on the internet that gets told to die on a daily basis,
I also enjoy this privilege.
I think that you can be a little bit more thick-skinned about it as you're making some money.
Some people,
but he's new to it.
Scamming somebody.
Now let's be clear. Some people don't have thick skin, can't grow thick skin. It is not fair to generalize against everybody saying, it's the internet, fucking buck up. People tell you to die all the time. That is the case. However, this guy is a dirtbag and made a shitty game and got rich, and boo-hoo for him.
And within hours, you had like 13 or 14 clones shooting up the charts.
With disgusting
they took the Flappy Bird thing, as shit as it was, and just threw in microtransactions because someone said you're not monetizing correctly.
Yeah, so
right?
I'm going to be the first one to
Let
do
me
that.
show you how to do this.
Pay 69 cents to make that ad disappear.
Well, and that one where the guy had a name called like Happy Bee.
Yeah.
And he renamed it to Flappy Bee.
Yeah.
And it was already on the store.
Totally.
Because when someone searches for Flappy on the iOS store, they download the first thing because everyone's not very smart.
So you got to put up there Flappy Saga.
Yeah.
The Flappy Saga,
Candy Birds.
So Flappy Bird perfectly encapsulates the mobile industry. And I think it was Capcom recently came out and said they took like huge mobile losses. They're like, we don't understand mobile. We're making really good games on mobile. Why don't people like it? Because Capcom sees shit like Flappy Bird and said, one guy made that for, say, $20. We can have 10 guys make it 100 times better for $1,000, so we'll get 100 times more money, right?
But it doesn't scale, yeah.
And the reason it's no is because Flappy Bird proves that the iOS store and the entire mobile market is a lottery. It is a total lottery. Quality, publicity, like graphics, monetization, nothing matters.
Here's the thing, though. There are companies that have worked it down to a science that consistently have titles that go rank high on release.
A couple times, but like,
and then they're
Game Loft is a pretty good example.
The only one I can think of that's consistent, but their games suck.
But they have dudes that are their entire job is to figure out how to make this.
It's not hard to figure it out. You're just modern combat number.
Well,
and real racing number.
Well, I mean, you recall that Imgur post where they just collected all the similar clone games that were like, build a base, defend your fortress from enemy attacks.
Thank you, Clash of Clans.
You're totally right, but the distinction I want to make is that Gameloft actually makes games.
Yeah.
They at least make games. What companies want to chase is they want the next Angry Birds. Just like in the console space, everyone wants the next Call of Duty, right? And those games are absolutely pure chance.
The ones I hate are the Japanese ones that are really cropping up, which is like the collect monsters and fight, and not just cards, but like specifically monsters. It's very weird. So Puzzle and Dragons was the one that hit it big,
of course,
and it's got this menu structure that I hate, where everything has to load
because those are all evolved out of gambling, like video poker machines.
Yeah.
Exactly. Anyway, Sega did one, the fucking Demon's Tribe, and Square Enix just put out Dragon Quest Monsters Super Light, and they made $1 million overnight. And they made another $1 million the next day. I downloaded it the day it came out when it was still available in America. That is some hot shit. It is not good. The menu structure is so fucking poor. You spend more time in the goddamn menus than you do in these little nothing dungeons that have next to no strategy. And then you go back to the menus. God forbid you want to fuse a creature, because you'll be in there twice the time.
So Flappy Bird.
Did you guys play Flappy Bird?
No, I don't have a fucking iOS
I downloaded it
device.
because I was like, what's this Flappy Bird? I don't have to pay for it. Let's go. Within 15 minutes, I deleted it. I got a high score of 11. It was not worth my time. It was a complete waste.
No,
but I mean, like, there was nothing.
A dude remade the entire game in 3D that looked better in an hour.
Right.
And he recorded the entire thing. You can watch him make it. Right? It's up there.
Did you see the iPhones going on eBay that have preloaded Flappy Bird?
The rare game Flappy Bird preloaded on this iPhone for $1,000.
We should preface that with, you can't download Flappy Bird anymore. It's gone.
It's gone.
He took it down.
So simple life is
you
ruined.
can buy my iPhone on eBay for $50,000. Just go to ebay.com.
You combine Flappy Bird and Dungeon Keeper, and what you get is the image. I was about to go there. Are we going to talk about
That's
Dungeon
next.
Keeper?
That's next.
Well, let's go on to Dungeon Keeper.
You mean
But
we're
like
going into Flappy Dungeon?
Yeah. But the last thing I wanted to say on this was, if you really want to just ooze all the scum out of this entire fucking thing.
Ooze or squeeze, or what's the...
You juice the
juice the scum.
It oozes your way
You want to juice
heart.
the scum out
like
of it.
squeezing a towel.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Wring it out, right? Go to the Verge's article, which I'm going to link to, where they interviewed him as if he's the next big iOS product, right? Like, what did you do? How did you make it work? What's the formula? And he's like, oh yeah, no, I really feel that Flappy Bird's at a place where you can't really add or take anything away. You know,
fuck
it's
off.
just
Holy
perfect
shit.
So in the end, he's just a huge dog.
You see, people keep trying to put Flappy Bird put a tag on it, trying to figure out.
People trying to put a label on a lifestyle.
We can't put a label on a lifestyle. The lifestyle of Flappy Bird.
I wish Flappy Bird would have been what was in the cube.
Curiosity. Just get that stupid looking bird coming out.
Flappy Bird flaps his way into your heart.
Absolutely. Fuck Wappy
That's
Dog.
where I got super addicted to it.
And you know what? If you want to play games on a small device, buy a Vita or a 3DS.
So,
everyone already owns a phone.
They already own a phone.
But there's better shit than this garbage.
Oh my God,
like Dungeon Keeper.
All right, Bullfrog, great company.
Made some classics.
Made some amazing classics over the years.
One of which was Dungeon Keeper.
One of which was Syndicate.
Like 15 years ago, invented the tower defense genre.
Didn't they also make Buck Bumble?
No.
Don't
maybe
start singing
It was some. The guys that made
Anyway,
Star Fox, I thought.
Right, awesome legacy.
Now, Dungeon Keeper is a classic PC game in which you play the villain of a dungeon who is trying to stop the heroes from getting your shit or saving a princess or fucking whatever. And you build all sorts of bullshit all over the place. It's like Kagera's Deception. It's like Tower Defense
game.
And EA has decided, we're going to bring back Dungeon Keeper. We're going to bring it back for mobile devices.
Pretty unforgettable logo with that little spiked demon
demon head.
I was like, oh shit, yeah, that
and they redesigned him, and he looks all right. And it's like
it looks like he belongs on a mobile game.
And it comes
true.
out, and Dungeon Keeper is the most abominable microtransaction in-app purchase ridden piece of filthy piece of shit garbage that anyone has ever seen.
Well, you're being much nicer than I thought.
Now,
you would
people
be.
throw around the word unplayable a lot.
A lot.
They like to throw that word around.
It's a buzzword.
But rarely do we encounter games that
are
actually unplayable. Peter Molyneux comes out and says,
This is unplayable!
What is this,
Yeah.
right?
It is a goddamn shame.
Didn't he?
Pretty sure he
So,
worked on the first one.
the first thing
Else
is,
they wouldn't interview.
as you send out your little goblins to like chip away at the blocks surrounding your little
To make rooms
your
for
3x3
traps.
square.
Yeah, you have a cave and you have to mine it wider, basically.
and like different types of blocks that they mine into take different amounts of time to break open.
That's correct.
In the original game, it would take
Couple minutes, maybe
Whatever.
a second, maybe 30 seconds. Whatever.
In this case, you have things ranging from 4 to 24 hours
And-
for a single block.
And that is not as you progress. That is like block 1 you could touch, and it could say 24 hours to mine.
Right.
Depending on how many little density markings.
Now,
on each
good
block.
thing
I
there's-
think they were smart enough to not put any of the 24 hours ones.
Within the first layer.
When you look at the map and there's the rocks
They're on
around
the
the outer
edge.
edge.
Because
they're
then
on
the
edge.
jig would
Yeah.
be up far too early.
Exactly.
No, yeah, a lot of the inner rocks are just solid brown, and then the outer rocks have
Now,
those markings.
if you want to pay some gems, which is the real money currency,
because there's 4 currencies, of course.
it'll speed the fuck up. There's stone, wood, gold, and gems, I
Yes.
believe.
3 of which are worthless.
Right.
And
So
the
you need
last
all
one's
the other
best
ones
speed
that you would
gas.
earn in gameplay, and those work as you would. But you want to get past this 24-hour timer in like 10 seconds? Hey, how about you pass what? $1 for a single fucking block, of which
Was it that much? It wasn't cheaper than that?
I don't know the exact
I think
number.
it's a
but
bit cheaper,
it's
but still
a-
still-
it's a
still
microtransaction.
making a 3x3 9-block room
Yeah.
via the game's intrinsic rules, if
Yeah.
you don't want to spend more money,
Yeah.
can take more than a week.
Which
So
is
that-
absurd.
So that is gross on its own.
But
Yeah.
that's not even
that's
the worst.
not even
It's
the worst
not.
part.
The worst part is that as you go up the upgrade trees, the number of say I need 20,000 gold to build this thing.
Well,
this upgrade.
In particular, your main dungeon room, you need to upgrade that to progress in the game.
Right, and progress in your upgrade tree as well.
Yes, and to get that further along, you have to spend X amount of gold on it.
Yeah.
Right? But that gold that you need to buy your upgrades, you can't carry enough. The limit on your
You've got your baby
container
wallet. Yeah.
is too small.
The only way to carry enough is to be able to get enough stone to build a bigger
gold container.
And the numbers on these are all
They're
stacked
gamed,
as to be literally impossible to obtain.
But hold on, though. Not only that, but your stone container is not big enough
So
to
you need
feed your
more
gold.
wood to make the stone container.
So it's a
but
big
what
one.
happens when you got to make the bigger wood container? Turns out it needs a lot of gold.
Yeah, so
So it's a big old circular upgrade
bullshit
tree.
You hit a point in this game relatively early. I've had friends who got their hands on it and said not only do you get hit in the face of microtransactions within 5 seconds of starting the game, but you very early hit a point in which it becomes very apparent to the player that it will be literally impossible to progress
Yeah.
at
some
any
point, yeah.
significant faction without like a month of work
Yeah.
without paying extra money.
The example that was given was one of your first upgrades is about 5,000-6,000 gold to make this thing whatever.
Yeah.
And then the second one is 50,000 gold.
Yeah.
And then you immediately shoot up over 100 for like the third one.
And the reward of gold through gameplay does not scale.
Yeah.
It stays constant.
The worst thing to me still was the whole review thing, which I'm sure you're aware of.
That's the absolute worst. So before you even get there, save that shit.
Sure.
Save that shit.
It's a gem.
I was going to say something really
Ironically.
confused about the whole deal is that when the monster guy's talking to you, in his text he's actively making fun of microtransactions and saying, "Boy, this sure is annoying, huh?"
Well, yeah,
and
someone
then
sane had to make the
asks
game.
for microtransactions.
And
Like people, are you taking the piss out of us? I don't get it.
We're
So
also
there
taking
was-
the money out of you.
So a tester that was working on this came out and spoke about it, actually.
Really? I didn't
yeah.
see this.
And he said that while they were testing it, they would give different groups of people that were in the late beta different price points.
Yeah.
And see how frustrated they would get.
Right.
And basically...
This is disgusting.
And they would keep increasing that amount on different groups of people and seeing how it was, till in the end, they went a little bit above the highest level of annoyance. And that's what they put out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to give shout-outs to Eurogamer.
Yes.
For publishing an article, basically using Dungeon Keeper as the martyr of the cause, and pointing out that games that use this kind of monetization, that have replaced gameplay with monetization, are rackets. They are fucking scams, and the people who make them are thieves. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
And the great thing about that review, too, is that they say, basically, look, here I go, I don't want to review microtransactions, I want to review the game.
Yeah, but it's hard to do that.
It's very hard to do that when it's all in your face. I'm giving it a 1 on 10 for resembling Dungeon Keeper.
Jim Sterling, as he is occasionally known to do, put up a really good video about it yesterday, Monday.
Yeah.
And it's that same topic.
Yeah, basically, like you are scammers.
Yeah.
And if you are a game developer who works on a game like this, like, you don't have the right to complain saying, I'm not a scammer, you made a fucking scam game. And yes, your boss may have told you to make that, but you choose to work there.
And even better, you did so by shitting on something that a lot of people cared
You
about.
made a vehicle for theft.
On the
Some
name,
sort of thieving vehicle.
on the name that was trusted prior to...
And it has gotten
this
so
remake.
bad that the games press is now just coming out and saying, yeah, mobile gaming, it's a fucking scam. The whole thing's a scam.
So I wanted to just say quickly that also you can't die.
Yeah, of course.
You used to be able to die.
No, if you died, you wouldn't pay
You mean in the
more.
old Dungeon Keeper?
You could totally fail.
Okay.
And in this case, you don't fail.
I thought you meant on this new Dungeon Keeper you could die, but then they patched it out.
No. It's straight up like you can't fail. You can simply get deducted your resources.
Wow, that's trash.
And then
And you just grind it back up.
You grind them back up because oops, you took a hit and that's it. Oops, I went back down.
Now,
the absolute fucking juiciest morsel.
let me ask you, what has EA's response been to all of this criticism?
Hasn't it been nothing?
What response?
The response has actually... No, they have responded to the torrent of criticism. And the response has consistently been, hey man, people like it. People love Dungeon Keeper. Look how high it's rated on the App Store.
Oh,
there we go.
Which takes us to the juiciest morsel.
So-
Liam, take it away.
Phone games have this thing where every now and again it'll be like, hey, rate our game.
Do you like it?
Do you want to rate our game?
1 to 5 stars.
Dungeon Keeper has the worst one ever made. Alternately, the best one ever made if you're EA. So it gives you the option
Pretty
of rating
brilliant,
it.
actually.
Yeah, it's so clever. You're like, why hasn't anyone
There
done
are
this before?
2 buttons.
There's 2 buttons for a 5-star rating system. One of them is a little blue button. It says 1 to 4 stars. The other one is a big fat green button. And that's
really
the color of the
happy shade of
gems.
green.
It's happy.
It's like an emerald green. It's
And
really
it says
nice.
5 stars. Now, this is on the Android one. You hit the 5-star one, it submits a 5-star.
Bam.
You hit 1 to 4, it brings you to a form you can fill out to send to EA about what we can do to make the game better.
It says, do you want to keep rating this, or do you want to write us a letter with
Exactly.
your feedback?
Yeah.
And if you write them a letter with your feedback, you don't rate the game.
You have to go rate it on your own time. You're playing Dungeon Keeper in EA's
Which
town.
Outside the game.
Go through your own
naturally
work.
skews the fuck out of the thing. It is the equivalent of closing down voting booths
It's
early
terrible, yeah.
so that people who have jobs can't go vote.
Gerrymandering,
Yeah.
filibusters,
it's
all of that shit.
disgusting.
There is a Simpsons episode where Homer picks a choice and he goes, "You picked B." No, I didn't. I'm almost positive you did. Like it's the exact same stuff.
Yeah.
So I
Absolute
can't
garbage.
believe how gross that is.
That is
To
really
me-
brilliant way to get around that.
EA manages to consistently outdo themselves.
And to me, the worst thing of this is like you look at it and the asset, everything's sound. Just the structure of the game.
The
is
game
so
does appear well
like,
made.
It's so abhorrent and terrible,
Which makes
and
it
it's
all the
like,
more tragic.
If the design were not this terrible, contrived money-making machine, it seems to me like there could have been a good game made here.
And the part that's really, like, kind of poetic, I feel, about the whole thing, is that, hey, if you look at Dungeon Keeper Mobile and be like, I'm interested in this kind of game, or I love Dungeon Keeper. I wish I could play Dungeon Keeper. You can go to goodoldgames.com and get the original 2 Dungeon Keepers for, I think, like $6.
This is where all those dudes...
And those will be games that you can play.
Those dudes that made the Flappy Bird clones, I want those guys to get on this and go, here's the non-scam version.
Yeah, why not?
Clone of Dungeon Keeper.
Yeah. I think EA is such a big company that when they should have learned their lesson about SimCity.
Well, there's how many controversies going on at EA at any given moment.
SimCity's getting a fucking offline mode! For fuck's sake!
It was said to be impossible.
The whole negative backlash about that, which was huge, and so much so that they reversed their decision, you think those lessons would have filtered down to other departments.
Why would they?
No, here's why. Here's why they'll never do it. Because back in 2009, Riccatello said, we're going to focus on making good games, we're going to make new IPs, we're going to do good.
And
we don't want everyone to hate us. We're going to make shit like Dead Space. We're going to make stuff like Mirror's Edge. We're going to make
Brutal Legend.
The Old Republic and publish stuff like Brutal Legend.
And we're going to support Harmonix.
And it almost killed EA.
Well,
they almost went under.
Died.
It was an unmitigated economic disaster.
Because I was about to say, do you remember that period of time when Activision were the bad guys
Yes.
and EA were the good
and they
guys?
remain bad guys, Activision.
Sure.
Yeah.
Except
They
except
just-
for that one time.
Except that one
They
time.
just recently announced that they decided that Sledgehammer Games, instead of making their own IP like they were
More Call of Duty.
pseudo-promised when they came on, would instead come make Call of Duty. So now you can get 3 teams making Call of Duty.
The only thing I like
that
about
one
that is
time.
a 3-year cycle is way better.
It is.
It is.
But
Ultimately,
I also feel bad for Sledgehammer.
Oh, me too.
And what that does for the brand as well, man.
Because now you're going to have...
Well, now they have 3 years to make a better game.
But
so
now
who
you're
knows?
going to have 2 off years.
Well, unless Sledgehammer's amazing.
Right.
In the end.
They can't be any worse than fucking Infinity Ward.
I can't believe how Infinity Ward has become the shit year.
You hear that new patch drops
Can't
the frame
believe
rate
that.
multiplayer to like 30 frames a second?
Wow.
What the fuck is going on?
what a great patch.
I was gonna say there was that time that Activision was basically Lord Genome and
Yeah.
Vivendi was the anti-spirals.
Yeah, totally,
You know?
totally right.
The greater
That's such an
evil,
apt-
man.
That's such an apt description of it.
Oh, fine, go for it, little guy.
It has come to the point where boycotting EA is really easy. It's really, really easy.
You just don't want to play that game.
What do they have to offer me? Like
No.
I didn't play Dead Space 3. Oh no, the series I loved. You ruined it. Oh, well, I'll have to get it on Origin? Guess I won't then.
The
It's
only
not-
thing
it's
they
not-
have is Titanfall.
And I love Battlefield. And this fucking debacle has turned me way the fuck off the
I
Battlefield.
was just gonna say, like, is it really a boycott if you just say, I want to play good games?
It's not a boycott. It's just
it becomes the easiest boycott ever.
It's an inadvertent boycott.
They have
you're not actually.
They have made it really easy for people that are morally outraged by their products to not buy their products by making their products unappealing.
So guess what, Willie? You're going to be running down a hallway, and it's going to. Do you want to learn how to slide? Pay us $3 so Faith can learn how to slide.
I am now reconvinced that Mirror's Edge 2 will not happen.
It's so gonna happen.
That one's gonna
Okay,
happen.
here's why.
It's gonna happen because it's a fucking whatchama project.
Here's-
It's a vanity project.
As long as it's my wallpaper at work, it's gonna
Okay,
happen.
but here's why I don't believe in that game anymore, because DICE is supposed to make it, and DICE can't even get the DLC for Battlefield out.
In all fairness, they probably care a lot more about Mirror's
And
Edge.
it's probably
Probably
and
that way.
they have more than one team.
I
You
would
know,
hope so.
Come on, you know how
The
this-
A guys are on Mirror's
Don't,
Edge.
Willie, you and I love Mirror's Edge a whole lot, I think.
Oh, we all do.
You don't like Mirror's Edge.
I love Mirror's Edge.
Now he likes it.
I'm the only one. You guys make fun of me about Faith all the time.
No, I don't.
No, we make fun of
I
you
make
about
fun of you about
Faith.
Faith
Yeah.
and how you love
We all
those
love
terrible
it.
animated cutscenes, but I love Mirror's Edge. I remember talking to you, and we had the argument
Yeah.
over whether or not we preferred the long version of the time trials or the short versions.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, we all
Mirror's Edge
really
is
liked
fucking
it.
amazing. Lower,
You didn't get the platinum trophy, Willie?
Willie?
I really thought you guys were all just shitting on me about it.
Wooly, no, it's just fun to
it's
shit
great.
on you. Wooly, take your hopes and put them in the trash.
Take your
and if there's
Discard it.
if there's a reason to bring your hope out of the trash, do so.
Hmm.
But don't hold them up. Don't care.
Why are you
Stop
using the
caring.
word hope when you should be using the word faith?
Faith.
Damn it. Damn it, that's like a built-in zinger.
Don't worry, we'll cut it. Say it again.
To put your faith in the trash.
There we go.
Also going on in the world of handhelds,
Handhelds continue to exist.
I sent Liam this article earlier, just saying, Liam, read this fucking headline. Just read it.
I vaguely remember. This was Thursday,
So someone writing a blog, yes, it was on Thursday. Someone writing a blog on Forbes.com, because there's like personalized little editorial places, wrote a headline called Flappy Bird makes $50,000 a day. Will Nintendo take notice? What the actual fuck is wrong with you?
This reminds me of like a really, really old person is like, what's this about the Flappy Bird? I'm going to write a blog about
Mobile
it.
development's the fucking future, man.
Oh my god.
But it's like taking the worst current news ever and the dumbest people like pushing for
and mash them together
until
brilliant headlines come out.
I want. Oh, by the way, speaking of Flappy Bird, I listened to last week's podcast, and I may have come off a little bit dickish at the Flappy Bird guy, and I feel kind of bad about it.
I certainly feel
so.
like that may
If the Flappy Bird guy can hear this, which he can't, but whatever.
Dong New Year.
I was just jealous that you were making $50,000 a day, and that's why I was mad.
That's very heartfelt.
But the game you made still sucks, though.
Oh, no, yeah.
Well, you don't have to feel that bad, because you know who else is mad?
Who?
Apple and Google. Because they just straight up came out and went, nah, fuck it, we're done, no more clones. And people,
Yes!
And people,
that makes Flappy Bird the greatest game of all time!
Totally.
yes.
Wow.
This happened yesterday.
over the weekend.
You see
Yesterday.
fucking King.com suing the game they
Yeah.
ripped off to
Yeah.
make Candy Crush?
I'm gonna get there. Hold on.
That's on the
Let me
list.
get there.
Damn it!
Because
I'm
right
too
now,
smart for this podcast.
Because right now, Apple and Google at the same time,
they
both
had to have gotten together
just
to discuss
straight up
this.
started turning down people's shitty clones.
Oh god,
But that's still very hard to regulate with the amount that probably come through.
Now the
That
interesting
means that process is going to get way slower.
And the interesting thing is that there was no they didn't even give a heads up email, which is often done for Google Play and for the iOS store. They just started doing it, and
you know what? I'm not a lawyer, but I can easily see an argument being made that they are complicit in all sorts of bullshit by allowing these clones to exist.
it's not even that. It's just them just saying we can do what we want and we're fed up.
That their platform is garbage?
I also think it's also like a certain quality barrier that they're trying desperately to
my
scrap
favorite part about
together.
my favorite part about the story is the reasons they send you
What?
when your app gets rejected.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
This is
so-
going to sound great. This is the Flappy Bird greatest game now.
When Apple rejects you, the reason that comes back on your submission is leveraging a popular app.
Oh,
Right?
That's on the nose.
Very
That's
accurate.
That's straight up. You are a bastard, and you are a cloner.
Why you
Nothing
gotta
to
do
contribute.
this?
You're just fucking another hanger on.
No more Road Fighter 3s.
Mm-hmm. And even better is Google's response.
Of course.
Which when they were
Yeah, I was gonna say fuck you.
Google's
Fuck off with that
response
shit.
is one word: spam.
Oh,
That's even worse.
You are nothing.
That is
but
what a
spam.
that is what a mod sends to you when he's fed up.
you
with
are the junk mail
would
of
know.
our store.
Yeah, I would
I
know.
have no words to even bother.
I have no time for you.
You're spam.
So here's the question: does this mean that the mobile market will improve or crash?
It's
well,
too early to tell.
Eurogamer turned to mobile developer Ken Carpenter.
What did he make?
He said he made Flappy Dragon, but it got rejected, and he was angry as fuck, saying, "This is just not my fucking week."
That's a reasonable way to be.
I thought you were going to find to me.
Well, no, he followed up with,
Oh, okay.
they said, "We found your name attempts to leverage a popular app," and he's like, "What app? Flappy Bird doesn't exist."
Oh, fuck off, guy!
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah, so indignant, mobile get-rich-quick guys.
That's still a really good quote. I assumed he was going to say, "I'm furious." I'm like, it's not my week.
This can only be positive because it'll just put into more stark relief the difference, because there'll be way less apps now, right?
Hopefully.
Just the difference between, hey, this is free to play garbage like Dungeon Keeper, and maybe a real game like Cut the Rope.
But I don't think this is going to apply to everything going on.
No.
I think this is
Games.
only going to apply to situations like this.
Yeah.
Where they
Which-
go, we're both taking a special interest
You
in
know
this
what?
bullshit.
I would believe, this is completely grad out of the air, making this up, but I would believe that those kinds of games are like 99% of the App Store's games of quick cash-in ripoffs.
99
That's
sounds
a
pretty
giant
high,
ass
but
number.
like,
It's not that.
80%.
probably above 80.
It's definitely above 75.
Because I remember when Flappy Bird came out and then went away, within a day, there were like 30, 40, 50 clones.
But look, I have read through the like iOS terms and guidelines and things like that.
Yeah.
They specify you can't upload derivative apps that already exist. It's in their terms.
They're just enforcing it.
And yeah, now they're enforcing it because before they would basically just go, look, is it a clone? Is it the same code? Did you replace assets?
You actually steal something.
Then they would just shut you down. But now they get to enforce it within whatever
A creative
Because it seems like there needs to be another Flappy Bird and then like another type of situation like Flappy Bird before they enforce it again.
Yeah.
Because you've got fuckers uploading Flappy Birds that look like Angry Birds.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
And then
everything is collapsing
and
in
they
on
call it
itself.
Angry Flapper. If you just read the list of flipping Flappy Birding, and
The whole market's a cesspool, and hopefully they can put a pool skimmer
Yeah.
through it a little bit.
yeah. But whoever's got Flappy Bird Flyer up there is making the money now.
Sure, but give it a year. I'm very interested to see if it'll get any better, or if it'll get way worse. Like it'll be down to like the 3 free-to-play garbage games, and those are just super successful because they're not fighting their own clones.
Right.
I really hope this shuts down Minecraft and Clash of Clans clones. Because those are the ones that annoy me.
You mean like Dungeon Keeper?
No,
It's not like either of those.
But hey, shout outs to that news article this week that basically was like, good old games.
Yeah.
You guys have this bullshit Dungeon Keeper situation going on. Why don't you tune in here and get the old
For free.
thing for free?
Boy, if
But-
EA had just made a fucking like $5 quote unquote premium app that was a balanced Dungeon Keeper.
Yes.
God damn it, they would have avoided this.
But then they
whole
wouldn't
thing.
have made $300 off of you, Liam.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have in the first place.
Oh no, the folly of the mobile market shows itself.
Oh.
But here's the thing, though. These articles have all been saying, like, good old games, yeah, awesome, they're making it free. EA okayed that.
Yeah, of course they did.
EA,
Of course they did, yeah.
this was their
Of
action.
course, it's not GOG being like, oh, we're gonna stick
Exactly,
one in
yeah,
EA.
no.
I bet-
EA owns fucking Dungeon Keeper.
But a lot of like posts and
People
write-ups
who
have
don't
been
know any better.
have just been like, GOG is awesome, EA sucks. And
I
it's
bet
like,
it was.
well, yes, but
I
This
bet
is
it was.
EA's
had to
fix.
okay it.
I bet it was CD Projekt's like idea, and they called the guy at EA. He said, fuck it, people are really mad at us right now. Who cares?
Yeah, it really
Put it
seems
for
like
free.
Valentine's
It
Day.
really seems like a flash in the pan. Oh, that fucked up and that was awful. Just do this, put a band-aid
This will
on
cut
the
down
thing.
on angry phone calls to my desks for about 20 minutes.
On the other hand, it could totally be the opposite, where it's like we're giving out a shit ton of free Dungeon Keepers.
Sure, but it's-
now these people might check out the iOS.
Sure, but
one
it's
for
way
a bit.
easier to give
It's
CD
possible.
Projekt the benefit of the doubt than it is to give EA the benefit of the
Sure,
doubt.
when
And
you
it was
biased.
only one day. Remember?
What?
It was only 20.
one
It was
day.
only
We
24
do
hours.
not know anything about either side.
I know that CD Projekt is DRM free and didn't make Origin.
But you can't say that they were the ones to make the call definitively.
But yeah, Matt, they only did it for 24 hours.
But I can
Right.
say that one company is evil and the other is not.
Sure, but you don't know anything at the end of the day.
That's true.
What is...
You don't.
Oh, all I said is
okay,
it's easier
okay.
to give one the benefit of the doubt than the other.
Sure, but we don't know for sure.
I didn't say it was for sure.
You said that has to be what happened.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it... Oh my god, never mind.
Anyway. The other bit, of course, of mobile news, which was teased a little earlier,
God, I hate you so much, Liam.
is the story that's been going around, which is Candy Swipe,
Oh,
the
God.
game that was registered before Candy
In
Crush.
2010.
And
Years before.
2 years before, and this guy is getting told to pull his app down, and it's all kinds of bullshit because look at the icons and the fonts and the text.
Candy Crush is a clear ripoff. It is. They stole his game,
but they're the bigger company, so
you win.
Go King.
I don't think you win if the date on it is 2 years earlier.
But if you're a bigger company,
he's been trying to battle them legally for these 2 years, and he can't afford to do so anymore.
How can it even be a legal battle?
Because they just draw it out.
One is earlier. Done.
And not when you've got lawyers.
Goddamn copyright.
New York lawyers, hyper chicken lawyers.
The worst.
What I do think though with this story, and it's like it's
say that for sure.
Like it's a super one-sided tale
Copyrights
about the underdog versus the giant,
And there's all that stuff that he made the game for as a tribute to his mom.
That's the part where I go, okay, look, it's an iOS game, man. Like I get
he's just trying to get an extra bit of
a little bit more out of that,
Yeah.
and it's like I get that that's a part of the story, but you don't play up your mom, man. The point is you were there first, but you're in right.
But
you
when you
need to
have
be
no
more of a
money
tearjerker.
and no lawyers, use anything.
All you got is your heart, bro.
No, and you're taking the food out of my kids' mouths.
Yeah. That line was a little.
I guess after 2 years of battling, like
no, and
must
he's
get
again,
desperate,
he's totally in the right, and it's super bullshit that this
It's
happens.
so bad.
But like, I just a little bit of the cynic in me just kind of goes, "Aw, the mom card," Ow. But hey, people are probably checking out Candy Sweat now. Because that shit traveled.
But
watch it get taken down for being spam.
Fuck King for that. That's garbage.
Fuck
I
King for
can't
everything.
believe that King.com has just come up and done this.
It's weird
all
calling
this
a
thing like
Their like evil hatred just came up in like what 2 months, 1 month.
very, very quickly.
They got the copyright.
Whatever the copyright.
They
went
got
through.
it,
Being
and then
not kind of
immediately
copyrights,
started
yeah.
just blasting everybody with notices.
Accelerated evil.
Because I didn't even see their
They bought their own fucking coin doubler.
I didn't even see the response that they
for
made
evil.
until that guy quoted it, saying like we believe in the rights of every creator to do blah blah blah.
But not yours.
There was that other one with
Except when we did it.
There was that other one with Pack Escape that they paid like guys to literally clone another game.
Yeah.
And it's just like, guy, don't do that.
No, but it's exposing a lot of the seedy underbelly of the already sketchy iOS store.
I like to think that the people who work at King.com, they were feeling really good about getting that copyright and that trademark, and just be like, yeah, we are the biggest clone. We're gonna slam everybody else. And then this decision comes down from Google and Apple, and they go, shit, what are we gonna do for the next game? We didn't actually make our game. We just stole it.
I hope no one figures out the thing that we did.
Like I was reading because now a lot of iOS like indie guys are getting interviewed and stuff, and I was reading about one guy who's like, yeah, I run a successful company that makes games original
Candy
and
Crush slots.
and they're no he does his own original
Okay, yeah,
games
yeah.
and they do okay,
Well,
but not super duper great.
Yeah.
But he runs a second secret division of his company that just clones.
He runs Ultra Games.
Like and basically
US Gold.
they have a different name for when companies come to them and go, look, we want you to take this thing and put ads in it, and they go, okay. And they showed an actual description, and they're like, we want an Angry Birds-esque type game, just as close as possible with ads, and that's the entire description of the contract.
That doesn't make me happy at all.
That's really
It's
gross.
nuts. It's nuts.
You know what that makes me think? It makes me think you go into his office, he's like, so I'd like to make a game. And he's like, okay. And he's all cheery and nice, and there's sun coming through the windows. They're like, I just want to clone something. He goes, well, come into my other office.
Yeah.
And it's like this dark, dank, like, gross
Pulls the
place.
bookshelf and it
it flips
That
over.
wasn't my imagination. My thing was, I want to clone a game, and he turns the table upside down. Wheel of Fortune, and he just spins it. Angry Birds today.
But I like going through the bookshelf, and then suddenly you've got like a hidden casino, and like all this
everything
the
slips
waitresses
over.
are serving drinks.
And cigarettes. Yeah.
And it's an embarrassment of riches in bullshit in that industry. You have both of the worst copyright ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
You have non-stop clones with the most over crazy, zealous, like, copyright enforcement on originals of clones.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Copyright law is ass backwards.
No, man, and everyone's just trying to grab money out your pocket.
Everyone trying to hustle.
And it's like
Everyone's trying to hustle.
And like the speed of the mobile market is like too fast for lawyers to keep up with.
Which is why it's nice when you get really good deals that come along, such as if you get Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2 pre-ordered, you get your Mirrors of Fate HD
for free.
Just take it. That's awesome.
That also strikes me as
what?
If you pre-order Lords of Shadow 2, you get Mirrors of Fate HD for free.
Okay, because if you bought Mirrors of Fate HD, you got the Lords of Shadow 2 demo.
Yeah.
Well, other way around now.
That's fucking stupid.
Does that work on PC?
I don't
Almost
know.
certain, right?
I don't know.
I don't think it does.
Damn it,
Because I
that's
don't
dumb.
think Lords. I don't think that game even came out on PC.
Which
the
Mirrors of Fate?
Mirror of Fate HD.
I thought it did.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So here, you with your pre-order, you get this pile of shit that you can look at.
But it's for free.
Yeah, it's a free pile of shit.
It's alright if you don't like good Castlevania.
I don't know.
Says the
alright
guy
if you
that
don't-
likes Judgment.
I thought the trailer looked cool, but again, I haven't
Judgment
played
is
it.
the
that
like
really worries me.
guilty
actually.
pleasure. But like, boy, is
Your opinion
Mercury
is
Steam
furious.
sucks.
What worries?
That the fact that what was that Game Informer review for Castlevania came
Yeah,
out
yeah, 6
and
out of
said
10.
this game sucks basically,
Yeah.
and that's the first review that got out, like the exclusives. Like, well, that's not super great. And then all I hear about for Lords of Shadow 2 is, hey man, Green Man Gaming has it like $30 off. Hey man, if you pre-order it, you get Mirror of Fate.
But,
it's like all of these deals
Oh, I didn't
sound
hear
great,
about
but
that.
it makes me
Yeah.
feel like they are desperate to pump the numbers up before the game comes
Like,
out.
Green Man does these sales for like every
They
like, Sleeping
do.
Dogs.
They
did
do.
that for-
And I wasn't nervous about it
Okay.
until now.
Okay, 'cause
where
you-
they're trying to give everybody a
But-
deal.
but- Are you
a lot of
saying-
the Green Man sales are run by Green Man though,
Yeah, I-
in order to up their
I'm
sale?
aware.
Okay, yeah.
But are you saying that
I-
like the magazine that had the exclusive like deal to like the review
I'm-
was like hot new review, and you turn it over and it's just like it sucks.
I'm
Like,
saying
really?
It doesn't
that
happen
the
that
nature-
often.
Nintendo
yeah,
I'm
you
saying-
hype it up just to go
Yeah.
I am saying that the nature of review embargoes usually means that if your review is sufficiently high, you usually get out in
Early.
front.
Yeah.
Which is why the first review is almost always the most glowing. So when the first review from a major publication ends up being a 6, that sends off alarm bells for me.
Now, fortunately,
it
the rest
does,
of the
but
reviews
Game
have been
Informer is
Yeah.
a huge rag, and I would never trust a single one of their
Sure.
reviews. That I'd have to see a couple more. For example, like there was a bunch of reviews, like 20 of them for Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and 9, 9, 9, 10, 10, 10, 8, and then
6!
from one guy that's like, well, I don't like it.
Okay.
It happens.
He's
sometimes.
fair. He's allowed to not
Yeah,
like
it happens.
And
He's allowed to happen,
I'm not
but-
saying it's necessarily bad. The game could be great, but the first part made me wary. The second part made me
you more
go,
wary.
huh? And then the third part seems like, when I look at the big picture, I'm like,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
seem really desperate to
Yeah.
get these pre-order numbers up.
This week in video games, the product of one investor's mind when put towards what video games should be.
Oh no.
Pay 99 cents to
For
make Mario jump a
higher
little bit higher.
Jumps.
Man, that's disgusting.
This represents the type of person who has the capital and calls the shots, and who Iwata has to talk to when he writes these speeches.
And when you hear shit like that,
I feel really bad for Iwata.
when you hear shit like that,
That's who he's talking to.
You look at Iwata's statements of "fuck smartphones forever,"
Yeah.
and it makes a little more sense.
So
Yeah.
it should be stated this wasn't literal. Nobody's crazy enough to do
But the guy,
that,
but the guy was like, "I love it if someone did that."
He was basically talking about how Nintendo should move towards smartphones
Yeah.
and things like that. How, and like, of course, his hypothetical example given was imagine paying 99 cents to make Mario jump a little higher.
Like, does he
The
not
idea of
understand when he says that
microtransactions.
makes everyone cringe?
No, of course, but he probably said it offhand, and anyone could talk him
He
down
said
in a
it in
minute.
an
And he's
interview,
saying,
though.
and he's saying it
Well,
as,
exactly.
as a complete outsider who's putting a ton of chunk into Nintendo, hoping for returns on it with no interest.
Well, fuck you.
I think
you
they're
know?
the king
Get
of
out of my
all
face.
disgusting microtransaction statements was like 2 years ago when John Riccatello was talking to his investment group about the future of possible Battlefield microtransactions and price sensitivity. And he was talking about how, like, say you're 3 hours into a game of Battlefield and you have a good match, and then when you go to reload, you're out of ammo for that match. Reload. So maybe we charge you 50 cents to reload. The customer isn't price sensitive at that moment, so that's our chance to get them. Like, these kinds of businessmen and investors are fucking scumbags.
Yeah.
They're disgusting.
And we're going to talk a lot more about that.
Boy, are we.
But modified versions of their ideas are already successful in the industry today, and that's why they will never go away.
Well, to an extent. The worse it gets, the more, I believe, more attractive versions of these that are not this.
What if Dungeon Keeper is a very, very, like, aware move that they make in order to set the pace, so that your anger is here and your outrage is at this line,
like it's a distraction,
so that we can pull it back here on other things and push it forward.
I think you are dramatically overstating the long-term plans of these companies.
Find out what will kill me, but then back it off a little bit.
I think you are. I think you're seeing a masterstroke conspiracy in which they just kind of fucked it up.
No,
it's more like a Xanatos roulette.
But it's not even there's no conspiracy. It's like the testers have already said that in the testing process they upped the amount of tolerance people had. They took the highest level of tolerance people had and went above it, right?
Yeah.
So if you kind of have, what's so funny?
Sorry, nothing. Continue.
Because I said Xanatos.
Yeah, because anyway, please continue.
All right, no, it wasn't to say a masterstroke. It was just to say, like, you throw something out there that's so extreme that you go back to your other many titles, and can implement what did work.
I totally agree, but I also believe that the industry is large enough, and there's enough people that fucking hate that there's always going to be a market for games that are not that, and that the more games get pushed towards this business model that people like us like spit and are disgusted by, the more lucrative those games will be in a more open market that isn't being served.
Well, they put the thing in Plants vs. Zombies 2 almost immediately after Dungeon Keeper.
Oh god, that was so gross.
Where you had to pay for lawnmowers.
You have to pay for lawnmowers, yeah.
Or, I can't recall.
It seems like you would really need those for gardening.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, well, it's a thing in which, like, if you don't have lawnmowers, you're fucked.
You lose the level if they hit you. You don't have a lawnmower.
That's terrible.
And they backed it off. They removed it.
People were so fucking mad that
they totally just backed it off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Plants vs. Zombies 2, besides that, is just a total shit.
Yeah.
And nowhere near as good.
And I'm of the opinion that this is just a larger experiment to see just how far you can push people, and there's totally a line.
Yeah.
And that line is different for each groups of consumers.
And I don't know why EA keeps hitting this line.
Because they're aggressive with their monetization strategies.
But,
and they have to make up for those years of trying to be good.
So there's two types of...
You say that, but like...
There's two types of money trees in the game business, and there's your free-to-play whale, and then there's your hardcore power user, let's say. People like us who buy, like, a game a month, I think is the metric. We buy more. We buy more.
We buy like 4 a month.
People who buy a game a month make up a dramatically, like, disproportionate amount of the traditional industry's revenue.
Small. Yeah.
Those people are way into it, and they're going to spend a lot of money in the industry. They're also the people that are most likely to get super pissed at shit like this. Meanwhile, your free-to-play whales seem to be considerably less likely to get pissed off at stuff like this.
Well, before we transition we transition into the headline, I just wanted to say that this story to me represents an excellent microcosm of the mentality of a lot of investors who are in for quick in and out capital gains.
That's the problem, man.
Not understanding the industry they're investing in.
And like
totally.
I've made fun of Nintendo a lot in saying that they're so far up their own ass with their own philosophy, but at the same time, it's like I admire them for telling these investors to go fuck themselves with like their I hate that they haven't modernized parts of their business, but their refusal to modernize at all also means they will not do the awful shit.
Yeah,
like all the stuff I hate about Nintendo is incompetence. It's not evil. And I appreciate that.
And you can see how other companies would buckle under a ton of these guys
totally
saying, just put 99 cents for higher jumps, just do it.
You mean like EA and Activision that totally do that all the time?
Yeah. And then
you can buy $60 fucking mounts in World of Warcraft.
And then they
pay $60 to level yourself up
to 90, yeah.
And then, of course, they unveil that 99-cent high jump and then damage control for the next year while the investors just go...
You wasted your own time. For something that short-term and long-term won't even pan out.
Now, that moves us into the more interesting headline this week.
What?
According to VentureBeat.com, 0.15% of mobile games...
That's not the original source, is it?
Yes, it is. Account for 50% of in-game revenue.
You're misreading it. It's not 0.15%. It's 0.015% of people account for half of all mobile revenue. 1/10 of 1% is half of the entire mobile industry, and only 1.5% of people total even buy anything in the mobile industry.
No, it's 0.15%. I'm looking at it.
What's the number?
0.15% of mobile gamers.
Then I misread it.
Account for 50% of all
it's
in-game
low,
revenue.
Regardless,
it's low.
It is.
It's a 10th of a percent, or a little higher than a 10th of a percent.
The point is that
stop it, math nerds.
I'm sorry, everybody. I can't do math anymore.
But the point is that you and all your friends, a number of that many people, are paying for all of the mobile in-game purchase
it's
market.
The kind of thing where you say, like, this app goes out to 100,000 people, and it's like 10 people can make that game profitable because they're spending so much money on it. Mm-hmm. Now, when I saw that news, I got really, 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 really pissed off because we've talked a lot about free-to-play methods, like we just were, about how they're gross and how they're predatory and how they're bad, right? And then now that I see the data, that it's not even 1% of people are the ones spending almost all the money in the fucking business.
Yeah.
I look at the fact that 1% of people in the United States and probably Canada, but I don't have the data on it, have obsessive compulsive disorder. 2 to 5% of people in North America suffer from issues that can be construed as gambling addictions.
Oh yeah.
They have.
Oh yeah.
So when I look at this data,
absolutely.
And you know what?
Yes.
I bet anything that those numbers are higher for people who play games than they would for the otherwise normal populace.
It's a staggering parallel.
So the foregone conclusion is that free-to-play cell phone games, and to a lesser extent PC games, have basically reinvented the gambling racket.
Yeah. Pretty much.
In a situation that has no regulation at all, and is basically basing their entire business model off of addicts.
Well, I saw this one thing from this Chinese company very recently. I can't remember the name of the game, where they celebrated when they got their first $1,000 whale. And when I saw that, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Good job.
Disgusting.
Good job. You created a cigarette smoker.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sure that guy feels great.
Pat yourself on the back.
He might, but you're taking advantage of him, regardless of whether he feels great or not.
You look at the casino business, which is really highly regulated now.
Yeah.
And about 1% of their customers accounts for 33% of all casino revenue in the U.S. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, that is a combination of addicts and rich motherfuckers, okay, and it's the same thing we're seeing in the free to play thing. I don't have the data. This is just my extrapolation from statistics. But you see people like Michael Pachter talking about how I'll blow fucking whatever on Candy Crush. Yeah, Mike, you make fucking $1 million a year. No shit, you don't care about putting $100 into fucking Candy Crush.
Yeah.
And at the same time, guy who says, "Man, I really need to get to Candy Crush because I need to." Because I need to.
But you, as the game's developer, you can go to sleep at night just going, "No, they're all rich people."
And so you get you get these monetization directors, which I have no doubt most of them have no idea, not having given a thought to this. They're essentially discovering ways to addict people to feedback in a free to play game with money as the
fact that you would celebrate a whale, like that's
gross.
Regardless of mental disorder, you're celebrating a man spending $1,000 on your $1 microtransactions.
More than he should.
There's a problem.
And based on how little your goal of like your fish in your net, how few fish you need in your net to actually make it
you have a whale,
you can make that app as addictive and as horrible and as shameless and as garbage as you need to, because you're gonna get that 1, 2, 3, 4 guys that'll keep it afloat. And there's no incentive to change that or to modify it into something that is less scummy.
Until it gets hit with regulation like the casino industry. And Liam, you brought it up to me a couple days ago.
I'm so glad. I don't know.
Can
the
you please
details.
explain as much as you know?
I don't know if you have the story in the docket. And I didn't read the entire thing because I was busy at the time. But basically, in Europe, they are going to make it, or they are trying to pass a bill so that you can no longer call a game free to play unless it is free in its entirety with no payments.
Yo!
Now that's...
Which changes everything.
I wouldn't say it changes everything, but it's a step.
It changes
Game
a
changer.
lot.
Game changer.
Hashtag
game changer.
What
People are still going to play those games,
Now-
but you just can't label them the
Sure,
same
but
way.
also it's like
is the winner
they need the same regulation the casino industry is, and they need to show that they're not actively trying to ensnare addicts.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a while. Like Japan,
A long time.
What were those fucking card games in
Okay,
Japan?
yeah. So there's games in Japan that rely on a gashapon system or have it as like an incentive kind of thing where you pay money for X gashapon item digitally, right?
Yeah.
Which is like fine, whatever. But there were some where it was you pay money for X gashapon item, but X gashapon item doesn't actually do anything until you have all 5 of them. That was
Now-
outlawed.
now,
You're no longer allowed
those
to
games
do
You
that.
just got to keep going till you
Now,
hit it.
If you don't have all 5 pieces,
Liam,
tough, no
were-
Exodia.
Oh,
There's
wow.
no Yu-Gi-Oh! one.
Liam, were those outlawed on smartphones as well?
I don't know.
Because
I
the
don't know.
last time I checked up on that news, they were outlawed on cell phones, but due to a legal loophole in the bill that was introduced in Japan, the law did not apply to smartphones.
I actually don't know.
And this whole thing reminds me. You remember? Was it last week that we talked all sorts of shit about pachinko?
Yeah.
Okay,
Every
but
week, really.
pachinko is not gambling because there's player input, which technically classifies it as a skill game, which is the same loophole that free-to-play games are going to use to get around regulation.
right.
Whereas casinos can't. Because casinos, when you go up to fucking slot machine, there's no illusion that it's a skill-based game.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing about that is that, like, as awesome as little bits of news like that are going to be when we hear them, this is not going away, and this is never going to be something that we can feel good about. It's only going to get worse.
But it's going to help a lot to have 70% of the games on the App Store no longer say free plus.
Totally.
It'll also
It's going to
be-
help a lot to have them say something way more incendiary.
It'll also be awesome if, I doubt it's going to happen, but if both Google and Apple follow up on that whole Flappy Bird thing and start getting rid of clones,
Well, maybe
getting rid of all...
maybe
and
they
just-
don't want to get hit with a huge lawsuit by creating an unregulated gambling industry.
Maybe.
I mean, at some point, when it gets big enough, eventually the government
gonna get
steps in and
fixed
says,
They go away,
something.
what are you doing?
Yeah, eventually, you know.
But that could be 10, 15 years from now.
Yeah, I was
Look how
thinking the same thing.
fucking shit it was to prove that cigarettes killed people.
Yeah. No,
Like
still
6
sell them.
years?
Yeah.
I mean,
sell cigarettes.
and we're and the things we're saying this all with no data, but it would be interesting to see if there were any article out there studying what a whale is. Who is the whale? What do these people look like?
Well, what we do
Is
know...
it usually an addict?
What we
or
do
is it
know
someone
is
that's,
it's the
you know-
0.15%, which really corroborates with the statistics on mental illness.
Right.
And the thing with gambling, those are startlingly
And we
similar
also know
percentages.
that for the data for the whales, that their first purchase is almost immediately when they start the game, within 20 minutes.
And
And
an
the
hour.
second is within 2 hours,
Yeah.
which looks like compulsive behavior to me.
Yeah.
Now, again, we can't say anything for sure because there is no peer-reviewed data
Yeah,
on
and
who these people are.
Exactly,
But
and
I
we-
feel like it is a reasonable jump of logic to say that, hey, this incredibly tiny part of the population that interacts in this incredibly compulsive self-damaging behavior is likely people that have disabilities that lead them towards compulsive self-damaging behavior.
The whole casino stat doesn't hurt either.
No.
Yeah, you know, and there probably are an even smaller few that are rich people
And-
that just go back,
Totally.
whatever,
Sure, and
or
that's fine,
others that
but-
are just like, I really like this video
And
game.
and there's
and that's fine.
there's
but,
two
like,
other
But you can imagine most of it being a lot of disorder.
There are two
coming
other
out.
takeaways to this from me. One, depending on how rock solid those people are and how fat, like how much cell phones stay around as the dominant
Thing.
like game of choice thing, basing your entire market on 0.15% of people, unless they are addicts, seems real shaky ground for your entire industry.
Why would you base your entire setup on that?
So for the people basing their business model on that percentage of people, they better fucking hope they're addicts. Mm-hmm. Because if those people go away, the whole fucking thing's going to crash within a day.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that it means that we're going to see game companies have little outsourcing, like Capcom's going to do more smartphone stuff, and we're going to see some companies shift completely over, but it's because of its lottery nature and because of the
it's just
grossness
so
and the danger of the looming threat of regulation, you're not going to see the whole fucking industry just tumble into the free-to-play garbage.
I don't know about you guys, but when you think about this stuff, how it preys on people that might have mental disabilities and just how gross the whole thing is, when you think about video games 15 years ago when you were a kid, they make you feel really sad at this point, something that you love.
It does.
We don't have a particular hobby that has evolved in such a way other than video games where it's
because 15 years ago when I walked into the arcade and I walked over to the cabinets, you'd walk past the people sitting at the poker machines and the mahjong machines, and I would look at those things and go that is a completely different activity from what I'm about to go do.
Yes.
There was no connection whatsoever.
Matt, there is another example, and it's anime. In Japan, the anime home release system works on the exact same whale principle. Is that only the whales are going to buy your $800 Blu-ray sets?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, back in the day, you'd walk by those people sitting there, and they were addicts at their machines, and ordering their third or fourth, fucking beer, and
now
just going...
it's a little blurred.
And now you're getting that in-between
Now the
area,
problem is that your addictive
video
video poker's in your fucking pocket, and you don't have to go anywhere to get it.
Yeah.
And that is totally sad.
It sucks, because free-to-play is not a bad thing on principle, either. It's people who abuse it that's the problem. Just like anything else in the world.
Look how fucking successful and non-engendering of hatement and non-engendering of hate League of Legends and Dota 2 are.
Yeah.
No one's going League of Legends and Dota 2 are killing children.
No.
Because they're just, you buy a fucking hat for your guy who gives a shit.
As much as people hate it and love it, whatever, it's not harmful.
It's the motto of this podcast can just be, being a scumbag is profitable, and that sucks.
Yeah.
Every week, it's just another version of that.
Being a scumbag is always going to be profitable.
If we get to this topic...
The point where scumbagness doesn't become profitable is when people catch you and point a light at you, and then you're not profitable for a little while.
When I'm talking about 15 years ago, the most scumbag thing we ever heard of is I gotta pay another $50 to play as the bosses in Street Fighter 2. What a bunch of scumbags! That's as bad as it got.
And that's not bad either.
That's not bad. It's fucking great.
I couldn't wait.
Yeah,
it's even cheaper now to play as the bosses.
It's even cheaper.
And in case you didn't catch it, Zynga's on their way back with Farmville 2 and shit on smartphones.
No, the most evil shit ever is that Zynga bought fucking Euphoria. So goodbye, good physics.
I mean, they did a bunch of...
You didn't hear about that?
I didn't hear about that.
You know the makers of the Euphoria engine?
Yeah.
Bought out by Zynga. Goodbye to that license forever.
Or it'll just be way more expensive.
Way more expensive.
Okay. Well, moving on.
That was fun.
You gotta pay 99 cents per license.
Per usage.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, moving on into happier things.
Yay!
Is it really happier?
No.
Don't lie to me.
Other bits of exciting news. Exciting.
Exciting.
Yeah.
You seem doubtful about the excitement potential.
Well, hey, you guys like Candy Crush Saga at all? No, you're not fans of Candy Crush Saga?
Those guys are dicks.
I don't know how many condescending looks I've given to people on the Metro playing Candy Crush Saga.
Hey, did you know you're subhuman because of the game you enjoy?
I know, and I hate myself for doing it, but I look at him and I'm like, fuck.
They can't see your looks.
So I went to the kitchen, I grabbed a beer, and I came back, and my girlfriend was playing Candy Crush.
Oh no!
And
actually,
You mean your ex-girlfriend?
we had to have a talk now. But yeah, you don't like Candy Crush. Well, how would you like it with some new microtransactions?
I wouldn't.
So what ushered this in?
I still don't.
Well, it seems like they're offering the option to buy stocks in Candy Crush Saga.
Finally.
As a microtransaction.
Like in King.com? Like
Yeah,
a company?
Because King.com became an IPO.
Yeah, just last week.
And that apparently is not working out too well in their favor.
Oh, fuck everything.
So-
Aren't they getting sued, too?
I don't know.
So here's how we save it. In the game, you have the quick buy share button right there.
That's disgusting.
While you play, you can buy stock.
If you,
Is it
is there
disgusting
a
or
follow-up?
ingenious?
Is there a follow-up like questionnaire where you get to vote in the stock shit? You're a stockholder?
No, that's your prerogative.
Oh,
you have
fuck.
to go do that
Your
yourself.
vote, your
I bet.
vote is also how many stars you give the game in a review.
Right.
Yes.
It's fucking
This guy gave it 5 stars. Let's promote him to CEO.
And if you give it more stars, they give you more fake Candy Crush money.
Fuck King.com.
I know, they're the worst.
Hey, there's peace
Stop
at
touching me.
last between
Middle East?
between Candy Swipe and Candy Crush.
Oh, okay. Just
Did they kill the little guy?
Yeah, well, if they
Stop him.
did, then like they reanimated his corpse and got it to say that we have come to an agreement and it is and we have been able to work out our differences, whatever. And also, I have discovered that, and I don't know if this was him being forced to say it or whatever in the settlement, but he said I have also discovered that their name was planned before I came up with my name. So despite the
That's
fact that
totally...
my
that
product
feels so legally.
it feels like legal was pushed
Oh,
into
yeah.
The
that
interviewee
statement.
then drove off in a Maserati.
Yeah, right. In a Durango.
Who knows? Who knows?
But no, he
I would love...
in a Canyonero.
That's what I was trying to think of.
I would
Yeah.
love so much for one of these settlements to come up, and then just he pulls out a second piece of paper and he says, "I have been instructed as part of this agreement to read this. I am dumb and my butt smells, and I like to smell my own butt. Thank you."
Yeah. No, so that
Can you imagine if like somebody sued us? And like, well, you could pay us all your money, or you can
go read this.
like,
Or you have to change your name to Pat, Matt, William, Liam, Lame.
Yeah.
No,
And then they plant a guy in the front of the press conference like, question, how much does your butt smell?
It apparently smells a lot.
hold on, let me
There
get.
are stink lines around my butt.
Oh, you got the stink
Lines
lines
and
and everything.
Ah, look at that.
Look at that. Yeah. No.
Here's you.
So
Mo's just tired resignation at the stink line. Just
stink lines.
kills me.
So that's one peaceful resolution, quote unquote, to
that was
Kingdom's
a
troubles.
That was a vicious battle behind the scenes. There's no peace to that.
Well, I mean, fuck. Like the fact that he had to say in his statement that, oh look, hey, my game came out first, but they did have their name worked out for whatever.
Lawyers are hyper scum.
But that
they will
doesn't.
scum all over.
Yeah, and
who knows,
now
yeah.
and now we tune into part 4, where the guys that made Cut the Rope are getting involved. in a little bit
I
of a
mentioned that
fucking-
last week, but I couldn't remember
tiff
who
with them.
What's
brought the
going on with that
lawsuit.
one?
The guys who made Cut the Rope
Yeah.
have taken up the cause and said, "We're big. Fuck these guys."
Yeah, and Cut the
because-
Rope's
suing
huge,
them.
Yeah.
Because candy is a really big, important item in our game.
It's a key item. It is
So-
the crux.
And Cut the Rope is A, huge,
Yeah.
B, old.
Yeah, relatively speaking, yeah.
So
That was
no
one of the
King,
first huge
you don't
iOS
get away with
successes.
this.
Pretty sure.
Although it is worth noting that King did, what is it? They did cancel the filing for Candy.
Yes.
You know, in the end. So
Which is good because
It
they
turned-
couldn't deal
Yeah.
with the literal hit to their stocks.
Yeah.
Anymore.
It's because they wanted to have the monopoly, and then they get the monopoly, and they're like, yeah! And then they're like, wow, a lot of lawsuits hitting us right now! Oh, the stock is bad!
it probably isn't
Despite
worth
the
trouble.
monopoly, because of all these lawsuits.
Yeah.
And they filed for the trademark. I don't know if it went through ever because of the shitstorm that followed, but they filed for it. So
Yeah.
it I don't think it ever actually got enforced. You know, they did the filing and then they started sending out the letters. And
Blowback was a
doing the
little
typical
too
thing.
strong
Yeah,
because
and
it was
it's
a
like-
little too egregious.
How many lawyers got fired?
All of them.
I really hope a lot.
No, tons of lawyers got hired.
Lots of money in the lawyer industry around King. They're lining up out the door.
More lawsuits.
Forget chasing ambulances. King's the real money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's the equivalent of like, hey King, why don't you step into the street? Oh no, he's in an ambulance.
Yeah, exactly.
Better get in with you.
Lawyers, please queue here.
I mean, it's really, when you think about it, it's actually great timing because like the industry needed like a villain.
Oh yeah.
They needed a Dark Knight, a target, and here it is.
Activision's calmed down for a while.
Excuse me.
So we need a new villain.
Well, now that they bought themselves back,
they bought
like-
themselves. How cool was that?
Yeah. Well, we talked about that.
I
How that
know.
was like,
It's like
Darth Maul and the Emperor, right?
The one time you're Vader, but the one
Not
time
Vader, yeah, sorry.
you're like, you know what? You go, big AAA company.
Yeah, saving
Fight-
yourself from
fight the man.
Vivendi. Yeah.
The bigger man is out to get the little man.
amazing hero.
Yeah.
Well, they say there was Genome and the anti-spirals, right?
Totally. Totally. You're like, yeah.
Bobby Kotick is not Lord Genome.
He could be. I could see a developer that takes his head and puts it in a supercomputer and tells them how
Tell me how to take the fun out of making video
I've
games.
invented a planet where all fun is removed from the games because I have to save you.
Because if we have fun, we all get destroyed.
Exactly.
This analogy
the guys
works really well.
The guys above me are gonna come down and make it worse for you, so I have to remove the fun so that we can show them a profit.
Oh, fuck this.
But unlike Lord Genome, Kotick actually succeeded.
Sure.
This is a great narrative.
It's working, and I
sure
wish,
took the fun out of Call of Duty.
and I wish I could name 4 generals from Activision to like be.
But those would be
Cytomander and the
those
fucking
would be
Guam.
those would be Guitar Hero and Call of Duty.
Guitar
and,
Hero, Call of Duty, StarCraft, and WoW.
And Skyland. Okay, wow.
Yeah, well, you remove one of those. and then
Skylanders
whatever.
is the one that survived.
No, Skylanders is Cathedral Terra. You know, it's
This is
been
a great
there.
analogy.
It's been there all along.
Why does this work so well? This is so stupid.
Activision Lagan
But you're totally right. We needed a new villain, and
Yep.
boy, did we get one.
Gurren Vision.
with no face.
Vision.
No,
It's-
King.com.
It's just King.com.
like I remember when Activision was being evil. Bobby Kotick's dumb mugshot popped up right away.
With the Guitar Hero guitar,
and you were
right?
like, no, the one where he's just sitting in his office being a scumbag.
Oh, and he's got his arms on.
He's got his arms
and you
perched.
were just like, oh my god, fuck this fucking businessman, holy shit!
Yeah,
But
yeah.
King.com smartly did not do that. Now I still think of King.com. I don't think fuck their
There's
CEO.
no name
No, there's
that
no
we
guy.
care
Yeah.
about.
But at the same time, you do that as a move so that you can kill him later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
like Riccatello.
exactly, and he's the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, bye Riccatello.
So there's a pro and a con to doing that, you know?
Good job running the company into the ground, despite getting the Star Wars license.
Unprecedented ground running.
Speaking of fucking industry moving games and franchises, guess what's coming back this August with multiplayer?
Yokai Watch? I don't know what it is.
Flappy Bird.
Oh, yeah.
Dong Nguyen is back.
Hey, money to make.
If you said that we
Dong
can
Dong never
ban
died.
all Tony Hawk news, can we not ban all Flappy Bird news?
Because Tony Hawk, we
but-
want to hope.
But
Yeah.
I'm imagining him dressed like Psy. You know what I mean? Like coming back with the shades on and just fucking
Dancing through
dancing
garbage.
his way.
Okay,
Because
alright.
I would have ignored this news except for the last line.
Except for
What's the last line?
what's
Hit
the
us.
last
So
line?
he's talking to MSNBC or whatever, and he gives them the thing that it's coming back, it's gonna have multiplayer or whatever, gonna bring people together, etc. I'm also working on another game where a guy jumps from rooftop to rooftop.
Yep.
Sounds familiar.
Sounds.
You know, it's a shame.
He just fucking says it.
Yeah. And you know, it's a shame, because, like, I was thinking to myself earlier today, man, mobile games must be on a tear this year if there's 2 of them that I'm hooked on. Hitman Go and Love Live School Idol Festival. Those games
Is
are
that a
fucking
real
great.
title?
Yes.
Because that sounds like
Say
a
that
fucking
again.
joke.
Love Live School Idol Festival?
Jesus
Jeez.
It's
Christ.
great.
You can, but you can
There's
understand.
a gap
you
thread
you
that's
can,
over 12 pages
you
long.
can understand my eye roll just by the title.
Of course.
Because that's playing into all the stereotypes.
Of course, but it's a
Yeah.
rhythm game, so it's good.
Yeah. I bet
And you know,
it
like,
is.
there's like good mobile games coming out. And I'm like, man, way to like remind me that no, I'm blinded.
This industry is poison.
It's actually 99.9% absolute
This is
garbage.
actively poisoning the industry.
Yeah. It's fucking.
Also,
like,
just want to
shameless.
fuck you shout outs to Square Enix for Final Fantasy Agito, by the way.
Yep.
just again because
Yeah.
Hitman Go is so good, and you're
Yeah.
doing this like.
Agito. More like Aggie, go away.
Square is really
Good
good.
one.
Square is really good at utilizing the brands they don't make.
Square Japan needs to shape up.
Become a thing.
Burn down.
Shape up.
Or burn down.
Just give us a new bouncer already! Christ!
no one's asking.
This is
I
what the
know,
world
that
is
was
watching.
the joke, Patrick.
The bouncer will return in Avengers 3.